to another Whispered Facts episode, and today we're looking at the topic of the Queen of England, good old Liz herself, Queen Elizabeth. This is, of course, a Jubilee year. It's the 70th year since she took to the throne in 1952, which is actually the same year that my dad was born. So this year he celebrates his 70th birthday. So there's an early added bonus for you, this video. So in this episode I'm going to be reading facts about the Queen from a site called Fact Retriever, and I will drop the link to the site in the description if you want to check it out. There are 62 facts, and I won't be reading all of them in this video, but I will pick out the ones that I think are most interesting. Alright, so without further ado, it's time to lay back, relax, and let yourself drift away as I whisper facts about the Queen. Queen Elizabeth II was born on April the 21st, 1926, and turned 96 years old in 2022. Yeah, so she's had a very good innings, you would have to say, and longevity really runs in her family. I know her mother lived until over 100, the Queen Mother, who I believe died around 2002. And what I will add about this video is I'm not working off any particular information other than this facts website, Fact Retriever. So all of my opinions that I share are purely in my head. They are things that I recall seeing in the past. So everything that I recall may not be 100% accurate. But yeah, 96 years old. And this year, she actually had COVID, which was a big concern. I think we all kind of held our breath when that happened, but as far as I know, she has come through it and she has recovered, which is a relief to everybody. The Queen's full official title is Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and her other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith. Wow, that is quite a mouthful, you would have to say. I think that is much longer than I would ever have imagined, and that is the first time that I've ever seen her full title. So yeah, it's really cool, I like that. As of February 2022, Elizabeth II has been Queen of England for 70 years, making her reign the longest in world history. Wow. So she is actually the longest reigning royal in world history. I never knew that. So that's a really cool fact to take away from this video. Queen Elizabeth's coronation took place on June the 2nd, 1953. I actually thought it was 1952, but perhaps the official coronation didn't take place until 1953. 20 million people gathered around their television sets to watch the broadcast of Queen Elizabeth's coronation. Only 20 million, that seems to be quite a low amount for appeared on the UK version of I'm a Celebrity. I think it was 2005, and she actually won that series, and she was a lot of fun. Good old C Thatch, as they called her. That's quite a random fact to include in this video. Queen Elizabeth's favourite dogs are Pembroke Welsh Corgis. Ah yes, the Corgis. I knew this was going to come up. And I think if this was a quiz question and you were asked what sort of dogs does the Queen have, I think a lot of people would know that it is the Corgi. And you don't get to see them too often, but I actually watched a video recently from the opening ceremony of the 2012 Olympics, which were held in London, and the Queen actually has a very small acting role within that opening ceremony, in which James Bond, who was played by Daniel Craig, he arrives in a helicopter to escort her, and you actually get to see her corgis running around, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, that's well worth looking up on YouTube if you've never seen it before. The Queen became a homeowner at just 6 years old when she was given her own house by the people of Wales. The house, called Little Cottage, is located on the grounds of Windsor Royal Lodge. And next up we have a very random fact. The Queen is the only person in all of Britain who is legally allowed to drive without a driver's license. Oh my goodness, that is so very random, and I'm just trying to get my head around this fact. I'm not even sure if the Queen can drive or ever did drive in her life. Anytime you see her, she is of course being escorted. So yeah, I'm wondering if she ever was able to drive. I would imagine so. But even so, that fact is really just, it's insane. So if she wanted to, she could legally drive a car without a driver's license. That is incredibly dangerous. But yeah, that is definitely, or most probably, the most random fact that we will see within this video. Although she was born in April, the Queen always officially celebrates her birthday on a Saturday in June, when the weather is nicer. This fact sort of makes me think about Jesus and Christmas time. Christmas time is about the birth of Jesus, but I believe that he was actually born in the springtime. Don't quote me on that, as I'm not a particularly religious person, but yeah, that's kind of a similar theme there going on. So she was born in April, but celebrates her birthday in June, and I think if you want to do that, I don't see a problem with it, as long as it is still once a year. I don't see a problem with doing that. The Mayfair home in which Queen Elizabeth was born has become an expensive Cantonese restaurant. Yeah, and I'm sure that that particular restaurant uses that fact to their advantage, and I'm sure that because of where that restaurant is located, they are able to jack up their prices somewhat, I would think, just based on where it is. Queen Elizabeth is one of electronic communications early users. 19. Okay, so the Queen had an Instagram account, which is very surprising. I would never have imagined that. But I can't imagine that she runs it herself. I don't think that she would. She probably has somebody younger who knows about these things a lot more, who would post for her. But yeah, she sent an email in 1976, which is actually a lot earlier than I thought it was possible to send emails. So yeah, I really like that fact. Queen Elizabeth is an ardent supporter of Britain's Arsenal soccer team. Oh my goodness. She's an Arsenal fan. I had no idea about this fact. And I am actually a Chelsea fan who are big rivals of Arsenal football team. So yeah, that's a very surprising fact. But I guess it makes sense since she is from London. So it makes sense that she would support a London team. But yeah, even the fact that she likes football is a big surprise to me. I can't really imagine that at all, but I'm just picturing her now sitting watching the Arsenal games on TV. It's quite a funny image. Alright, and the next fact here we have built upon an earlier fact which I discussed, and it is, at 96 years old, Queen Elizabeth still drives her own car. So she can in fact drive, but she doesn't need a license, as we learned earlier. Thanks to some exotic gifts sent to her by various other countries, the Queen is currently the proud owner of an elephant, a jaguar, 2 giant turtles, and 2 sloths. All of them live in the London Zoo. So she has all these animals that she's been gifted over the years. Wow. But yeah, they are definitely in the place that they're going to get looked after best. And I wonder, does she ever visit them? I would love to know. When she was born, Queen Elizabeth's parents, then the Duke and Duchess of York, were not yet King and Queen Mother of England. While on a low-profile vacation in Scotland, Elizabeth was joined on a walk by some American tourists who asked her if she had ever met the Queen. In response, Elizabeth pointed at her security guard and said, "No, but he has." That is a fantastic fact, and it just shows that she has a brilliant sense of humour. But yeah, it's just so funny in so many ways that you would get some American tourists who would go up to a random person in Scotland and ask them, "Have you ever met the Queen?" It's just so funny. I like that a lot. And I love the response that she gave to such a silly question. But it just so happened that they actually asked the Queen if she had met the Queen. So, I just love that fact. And I think it's going to be very difficult to top that particular fact in this video. Included an ear of wheat for Pakistan, the fern of New Zealand, and lotus flowers for India and Ceylon. That's a pretty detailed fact, and I think knowing this fact now I'm going to have to look closer at the coin within the pictures contained within this video. And there's a very noisy bird outside at the minute. I'm not sure if you can hear that. You probably can. This particular device that I'm using to record the audio is very sensitive. Now let's see what else we have here. I'm just scrolling down the article. According to various reports, the Queen did not always see eye to eye with the popular Princess Diana. In a letter she wrote before Princess Di's death, however, the Queen expressed both admiration and respect for her daughter-in-law. Yeah, and I can remember when Princess Diana died in 1997. It absolutely dominated the news for a good while, and yeah, there was lots of stories about the Queen not liking Diana, but yeah, I'm sure we'll never truly know. The Queen is famous for inventing a new breed of dog. The mating of her corgi with Princess Margaret's dachshund resulted in the creation of the Dorgie. That's a really cute name, I think. The Queen's husband was born Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark, became Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten of the Royal Navy during his service to the armed forces, and upon his marriage to Elizabeth was finally dubbed Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, Earl of Merioneth, I'm not sure if I've pronounced that one correctly, and Baron Greenwich. So yeah, he had quite a lot of titles as well, and he lived to a good old age as well. He died last year, I believe it was, and I'm not 100% sure of what age he was, but he was around mid-90s as well, which is a very good age to live to, and a lot of us aren't lucky enough to live to that age, unfortunately, and I think for anybody who sort of lives beyond the age of 80 should count themselves very lucky indeed. The Queen's full birth name is Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, named after her mother, her grandfather's mother, and her paternal grandmother, respectively. When the Queen was a young girl, her family's nickname for her was Lilibet. And that's the first time that I've ever heard this particular fact. Indeed, most of these facts I am hearing for the first time. I don't have a particular interest in the Queen or the royal family. So yeah, I'm really enjoying learning these facts about Queen Elizabeth. In addition to Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, Queen Elizabeth has residences in Edinburgh, Scotland, Canberra, Australia, Wellington, New Zealand, and in both Quebec City and Ottawa, Canada. Queen Elizabeth has 3 generations of heirs. Prince Charles, who is now in his 70s, will be the next to inherit. Second in line is Charles's eldest son, Prince William, who is married to Kate Middleton, and their son, George, became the third heir when he was born in 2013. So yeah, old Charles is having to wait quite a while to take over as king, and given that he is in his 70s now, we really don't know how long his reign will last for, but hopefully he will get a few years out of it at least, because he's waited long enough. Elizabeth refers to the year 1992 as her family's annus horribilis. In that one year, both Prince Charles and Prince Andrew separated from their wives. Her daughter Anne got a divorce. A fire destroyed the interior of Windsor Castle, and the entirety of Britain struggled through an economic recession. Although the Queen shares a name with Elizabeth I, the 16th century monarch after whom the Elizabethan era is named, the two monarchs are not related. Elizabeth I was the last of the Tudor royal line, whereas the current Queen is a member of the Windsor family. The Queen and Prince Philip have 4 children: Prince Charles, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, and Prince Edward. After a year of begging permission from her father, King George VI, Elizabeth was allowed to join the British Armed Forces during World War II, making her the first female from the British royal family to serve in the military. Yeah, and I do have a picture of the Queen included in this video from when she was serving in 1945, I believe it is. So yeah, that's a really cool fact to learn. The first time Queen Elizabeth visited Australia and New Zealand in person was when the Queen included them in her Round the World tour in 1953. She is also the only monarch to have visited South America. Great Britain's monarchs are exempt from paying taxes on their personal income. However, in 1992, Queen Elizabeth agreed to start paying in response to public resentment over the royal lifestyle. This article is just full of really fascinating facts like that. So, up until 1992, it looks like the Queen and the royal family didn't pay taxes. Wow. Although all British monarchs are legally bound to keep a neutral stance when it comes to political action, the press once dubbed the Queen Elizabeth the Silent for her refusal to make public statements that even hint at her political views. And I don't think that's very fair, to be honest. I think it's completely up to an individual if they want to broadcast their political views or not, especially when it comes to politics. There are just certain topics that I think one has to have caution when talking about, because politics, of course, divides so many people, so it doesn't really matter what your opinion is, you're always going to get on the wrong side of certain people. So I don't blame her for keeping quiet on that particular subject. Queen Elizabeth is an avid horsewoman, frequently attending races and regularly visiting Kentucky stud farms to improve her own stock of racehorses. Yeah, and this is a fact that I was aware of, that she really does like her horses, and included in this video is a really nice photo of her riding her horse along with Ronald Reagan, the President of the United States at the time in the early 80s. Including her Oscar-winning role playing Elizabeth II in The Queen, Helen Mirren has been cast as a British Queen in a total of 3 films. Her other 2 roles were as Queen Elizabeth I and Queen Charlotte. Elizabeth has said that she first fell in love with her husband-to-be, Prince Philip, when she was only 13 years old. My goodness. And that is, again, brand new information to me from this video. I can't believe she was only 13 when she met Prince Philip. So they really were together most of their lives, you would have to say, if they met at such a young age. And I don't think he was all that much older. I think he was a little bit older than her, so yeah, that's amazing. And I think it is amazing if people meet at such a young age and it turns out to be the one, and you're together for essentially the rest of your lives until one of you passes away. The Queen meets every week with the British Prime Minister, but no record is kept of the meeting, and neither party has ever disclosed what topics have been discussed, nor the results of those discussions. I'm sure it's a lot of fun for the Queen to meet with old Boris Johnson. Estimates of Queen Elizabeth's private fortune have ranged from $530 million to $11 billion. And I guess this is an American website if it's giving the money in dollars. But yeah, that's quite a range, you'd have to say. $530 million to $11 billion. That is a huge range. In 1981, a teenager fired 6 blanks from a gun at the Queen while she was out riding horseback. The teen was charged with treason. Oh my goodness. I wonder where this event took place. 1981, so yeah, it was a long time ago, but this is something that I've never heard of before, and I'm just wondering if the gun had blanks in it, what was the purpose of doing that? But yeah, that's a really eye-opening fact there. In March 2020, rumours that the Queen's husband had died were so widespread that the topic was trending on Twitter, despite the fact that Prince Philip was alive and enjoying his retirement on the Sandringham estate. And I think I actually recall this happening. And of course now he has sadly passed on. But yeah, it just shows you how quickly a rumour can spread. So if it gets posted somewhere and then somebody shares that, and then 2 people share that, and so on, it really can spread at a rapid rate. Due in large part to the Queen's refusal to do media interviews, it took the BBC goodness. That is a really fun fact there, and it makes me want to send them a Christmas card just to see if I received one in return. I really don't know if that is true or not, but yeah, it might be worthwhile doing so. For anyone watching this video, if you want to know for sure, go ahead and send a Christmas card this year, and if they do send you one back, be sure to come back to this video and let me know. Queen Elizabeth reigns over a total of 16 different countries, known as the 16 Realms. Celebrations for Elizabeth's Diamond Jubilee, marking 60 years upon the throne, included a boat parade of 1,000 vessels down the River Thames. Yeah, and this year is the 70th year of her reign, so I'm sure there's going to be a massive celebration, and I look forward to seeing what surprises they have in store this time around. Elizabeth is the 6th female to reign as monarch of Great Britain. And finally, Estimate, one of the Queen's racing horses, won the Royal Ascot race in 2013. I'm sure he would have been very, very proud of that particular horse, being such an avid horse lover. So yeah, I think that's a really fun fact to end the video on. Well guys, that is the last fact for this video, but I really hope you enjoyed this look at facts all about the Queen, and if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so, for plenty more facts related content like this in the near future. And if you're interested in particular topics, you can check out my playlists where you'll find everything grouped into different categories for convenience. But a big thank you for joining me today, and until next time, rest easy, sleep well, and I hope to see you again very soon for another video, and goodbye for now.